Join, let me say a pleasant good evening to Senior Counsel Israel Khan. Welcome and good evening, sir.
Good evening to you, sir.
Always good to have you on. Always good, insightful. Many questions are being asked by yourself and goodly folks who are legally inclined as far as the matter surrounding the former Commissioner of Police. And I think it's only fair that we try to see if we could connect this to give some clarity to those folks who are definitely caught up in what is taking place. How, first of all, Senior Counsel, I mean, how did we get here? I mean, waking up as a nation one morning and hearing that the Commissioner of Police has been detained.
Well, apparently, what in the public domain, there was an investigation into the relation of the two sniper rifles in which she indicated a legal importer of guns, the one, Mr. Adi, that he could import these guns for the SSR. And there was an investigation as whether the SSR could be in possession of this. At the start of that investigation a couple of years ago. And they indicated, well, from the investigation, she ought not to do that.
One of the things you're asking, of course, is whether the DPP had advised the investigators to arrest the Commissioner of Police under Rule 3 of the judge's rule, or if the investigators did this on their own volition and then went to the DPP for advice as to whether they should charge the Commissioner of Police. And of course, that Rule 3 is a prosecution must only be brought for a good cause. No one should ever be prosecuted simply because he or she may have committed an offense.
Well, Rule 3 really says that the judge's rule that if the investigator is in possession of evidence to charge, they must indicate to the suspect that the person could be charged and you have the right to remain silent. And most of all, Rule 3 says you cannot ask, once you administer this judge's rule, caution the person, you cannot ask them anything about what they're investigating, but they turn around and question this Commissioner of Police for 2 days. So that is definitely wrong. So, and why they did it, we do not know. And all that would eventually come out into the open. The DP will have to give an explanation to the country whether he order or advise or endorse that arrest.
Is it that the main concern here is that whether the process was followed as far as the process of the law, or was it just taken upon somebody who believed that there was enough evidence by whatever reason to move in and detain the former Commissioner of Police?
Well, I suspect that, but we cannot really say for certain until the Director of Public Prosecutions pronounce on it. And in any event, whether they charge or do not charge the Commissioner of Police, they ought to have a commission of inquiry into this entire mess.
Yeah, I think what stands out here in many of your questions that you're asking, as far as the article, it says here, if the Commissioner of Police was not authorized under the Firearms Act to issue the import permit to the gun dealer to sell same to the SSA, then why did the Ministry of National Security pay for the guns?
Well, it appears the gun was purchased with a check coming from the Ministry of National Security. We do not know what department that went to, if it went to the SSA or somebody else, because he's in control with a lot. Ministry of National Security oversee a lot of organizations. So some people say that came from the SSA, but the Ministry of National Security check. I think in a week time we will know all this. The DPP should take more longer than that.
But Senior Counsel, is that the normal process, or are we seeing things here that one really has to question how this went about? Is this the normal process as far as these checks or whatever is being issued to pay for something, if it is that it wasn't authorized?
Well, that is not the normal process. That's why I asked another question, whether she was duped by some high public officers to sign on issuing the import certificate.
Yeah, I think
what has happened, we don't have information We're just trying to put things together and pieces together until the DPP pronounce on this.
Do you think that it's somewhat something that, I mean, many people, when asked the question, seem to have little confidence in how the process goes when after the fact, whether or not we're going to get the answers as citizens, or simply this is something that is just going to be, to ride out because it is an election year? What say you?
Well, I think they should have a commission of inquiry into it. It doesn't matter if the present government gets back in or they're removed, but the government of the day must have a commission of inquiry into this entire incident to find out what really went wrong, or whether there's any more than the pistol.
And you're asking what the public wants to know as well, as if the Commissioner of Police committed the criminal offense of misbehavior in public office, whether it was committed as a result of a genuine mistake or a misunderstanding.
Yes, because she's the person who is entitled in law to issue this import certificate. So she did what she's supposed to do, but whether the conditions which existed, she ought not to. That would have to investigate.
No, legally, what are we looking at? I mean, because, for those folks who may not be legally inclined, many are saying that, this is something kind of hard to really grasp at. I mean, a sitting commissioner of police being detained, being questioned, being interrogated, and as you said, we the citizens are still in the dark. What sort of outcome might bring about a sense of understanding when everything is said and done?
Well, the DPP don't explain, because what the DPP did, he directed the investigators to go back and conduct further investigation. So that is a clear indication he is not satisfied. There's sufficient evidence to charge the Commissioner of Police. That is an indication. So, or we looking at other people maybe who involved. I do not know. We just do not know. We have to wait until the DPP say yes or no, and if you say yes, we will hear the evidence. If you say no, we may not hear that evidence, we may not know what went on. That will cause people to want a commission of inquiry where people are compelled to say what went on.
Yeah, and we've had quite a lot of inquiries as well. You also mentioned the role of the Police Service Commission in all of this. What was expected of them when, as far as playing out in this scenario?
Well, they have no other choice, because if the Commissioner of Police is being investigated by the police for allegedly committing a criminal offense, misbehavior in public office, they had no alternative but to suspend send the commissioner on administrative leave with full pay until the investigation is completed, because she's in charge of the entire police service. She could have interfered in the investigation.
Yeah, definitely. Herself can't investigate herself. I mean, that in itself would raise more questions than anything else.
Well, she didn't have to investigate. She could really, files could disappear, evidence could disappear, or what have you. But the usual thing, if somebody is being investigated, they must have stay on in the organization. They have to take administrative leave.
See, now, Council, how important is it that we get to the bottom of this? I mean, just how...
Well, either you asking question and we, the DPP, haven't given a decision, and people asking question, the criminal bar asking question, or the lawyers asking question. It is very important. And not every day you look up a commissioner of police for doing what she's supposed to do, and then say you're supposed to do that, and then lock her up and investigate it. Why didn't quietly invite the lady to come down to the station and ask her a few questions and then send her home and continue the investigation? Somebody was very spiteful.
Yeah, you believe that it should have been a lot more discreet, that he's handled a lot more discreetly?
Yes, and if you arrested her, make sure you have the evidence that when you arrest her, shortly after you just charge her.
I agree with you on that one, definitely. I mean, to go through all of this and to put us under such scrutiny and to, of course, affect the trust of the citizens, where it is that you have to question yourself. We have a commissioner of police, and allegations are circling around her. One would have thought that it would have been handled in a more professional manner. It seems as though, whether politically or not, someone had an axe to grind in this matter.
Well, it appears so. You can't undermine the entire police service by investigating the head. Usually when they do that, it happens to Randall Burrows. Usually you don't have evidence and you're charged. That doesn't mean to say you're guilty, but you have evidence of charge. But the DPP said, up till now, the DPP is it a charge or not a charge? I guess in a week or 2 weeks' time, we will know.
Yeah. There are so many pending matters that has thrown the spotlight on the operations, the legal operations, that is it. And as a career legal mind, what are we witnessing here in our country as far as the upholding of the law?
Well, I'm trying to spot the question you're driving at, you know.
Well, I'm trying not to directly come at it because I know I don't want to put anything out there.
No, you could just come openly and I'll answer you openly.
Well, what is your feeling of the whole justice system in Trinidad and Tobago at this point?
Well, it is in crisis. Nothing happened in the judges. The DPP is short by 60-something lawyers. They have sufficient lawyers to charge. Police charging and not going to court is a crisis. You have a complete breakdown soon. Mandatory court in Port of Spain not working, San Fernando not working, Cuba, Tegucigalpa not working. Everything is almost at a standstill. It's a crisis.
And if I was to ask you, how much of this has been tainted by political interference?
Well, it's not really political interference. The government they don't have the political will in order to clean up the system, and the judiciary is in a mess with the Chief Justice. So it's not political interference so much as people are inept and incompetent, and they're putting resources into the judiciary, proper plea bargaining, divide more in the first, second, and third degree, have bail for a lot of things. Come to a standstill.
Yeah, but this is not something that would have happened overnight. I mean, it would have been taken...
No, that just happened years ago. People keep warning them. The Bar Association, criminal bar lawyers, last 15, 20 years, they said this will happen. And it happened. And as we're speaking now, you see things will come to a complete standstill. People will start taking the law into their own hands. And we will say, look, on a radio program, he said this, or TV program.
And how much of this would you say has contributed to the current crime situation in our country?
About 90%. The criminals know they won't be brought to justice. They also think they wouldn't be caught. Much more prosecuted.
I heard on the news of a criminologist that made the statement that the SOE, the current SOE, of course, is just slowing things down. I mean, when you hear the TTPS saying that murders are down compared to the rate that it was compared to last year, but the core issue of it is not being touched, getting to the roots of it, of course. So, you know, then what is expected when this SOE is lifted, and how then are we to deal with the situation after that?
Well, how will deal? The government, they're not doing anything. If the same government gets to the power, if another party gets into the power, they might be doing the same thing. We do not know. We do not know. It happens just like this in Haiti, you know. It started like this. And then the gangsters are deciding who will run the government and who will be prime minister and who in position. And we head into that direction. We're going over a precipice. Everybody just looking on.
What do you say to the general public? I mean, you know, there are people who are looking on. I mean, as citizens, if we lose confidence in something that keeps us from being noble savages, that gives us some sense of direction, of civility, if that does not exist, then what are we doing?
Well, we can't even say to get a new party into government because they might be in the same position doing nothing. We do not know. I just don't have the answer. I do not know.
Well, we're at this point where we have to wait to hear from the DPP. I really and truly, because I mean...
That's in relation to the specific case.
Yeah, because really and truly, it doesn't look good. It doesn't shed a good light on our judiciary system, and every day new things are developing, and it really makes you wonder. Any closing comments? Go right ahead.
Not really. Just take it one day at a time and hope that that they could clean up the act. The people have to come together and see. Let's see after, as you've rightly indicated, after the SOE, crime will just escalate. It's only keeping it back a bit.
Yeah.
But the thing is to maybe extend it again, and after election and you get back into power, then see what you could do. That must be the plan. I do not know.
Yeah, but the core issue of it is not being approached at all. It's not something that government seems to want to look at.
Did this happen overnight? Last 15, 20 years, calling up.
Yeah, and we just see the figures going up and up.
Yes.
And nothing is happening. Senior Counsel, I want to thank you so much. I know your time is short, but I want to thank you so much for taking time out to link with us here this evening. All the best to you. Keep up your good work, and we'll be speaking with you periodically as things start to unfold.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Always a
Okay,
pleasure.
bye-bye.
Thank you.
Right.